Good morning, everyone. I believe you can hear me. Right. Just like my Lord the Chairman, Honorable Justice Abu said, I would like to stand on the existing protocols established by Professor Akeredolu. So all protocols duly observed, let me state that. It gives me real pleasure, and I consider it an honor to be invited to give a goodwill message at this formal public presentation of the Lagos Court of Arbitration Journal of Arbitration and Dispute Settlement. Well, instituting an international journal is no mean task, just as both the reviewer had said and my Lord Justice Abiru just said Court of Appeal. So I especially congratulate the current president of the Lagos Court of Arbitration, Professor Adewale Olawoyin, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who, if I may say so, is a gentleman par excellence and a very brilliant academic and practitioner. I congratulate and celebrate him and his entire team for undertaking this arduous challenge of publishing a specialized journal on arbitration and dispute settlement. I've had occasion to work as the editor of a journal, the University of Ibadan Journal, and I know what it takes to start and to sustain a journal. So I'm really wishing them the best, not just in starting, but in ensuring that this journal is sustained. The Lagos Court of Arbitration is taking a bold step. But of course, this is not surprising for those who have followed them. They have shown themselves to be trailblazers and in the forefront of expanding the frontiers of knowledge, the principles and practice of arbitration in Africa. Let me cite a recent example. When COVID-19 pandemic struck, the Lagos Court of Arbitration was the main arbitral institution, ADR institution, that partnered with a group of individuals, ADR professionals, led by Mrs. Fumi Roberts, to research and evolve a swift response to deal with disputes that were likely to arise from the COVID-19 disruptions. I was part of that team, and the initiative was Christian Kadrai, that's COVID-19 ADR initiative. The Lagos Court of Arbitration offered itself as a willing and ready institution that will provide ADR services to businesses which had disputes that arose or were arising from the pandemic. So the Lagos Court of Arbitration is, to me, has always tried to put itself in the center of contemporary thoughts and actions in ADR and in arbitration in particular. And for that, again, I say worthy congratulations. Now, let me say a word or two also on the issue of journals and possibly the advantages they have, particularly over books. One is that legal periodicals can quickly investigate and make recommendations on contemporary issues in particular areas. Of course, we know that knowledge in different subject areas is cumulative and builds on itself. Thus, the added advantage of having peer-reviewed journals, such as the Lagos Court of Arbitration Journal, that can provide a trusted form of knowledge, cannot be overemphasized. Peer-reviewed articles in journals also maintain the integrity of knowledge being disseminated, since it is designed to assess the validity, the quality, and originality of knowledge that is being introduced into the marketplace. So looking at the pedigree of the editorial board of the Lagos Court of Arbitration Journal, I have no doubts in my mind that articles which get published in this journal will certainly contribute to the knowledge and practice of arbitration and ADR. Now to the content of the journal itself, we have all listened to the review, so I'm not going to do a review. But I also had an opportunity of reading before now the maiden edition of the journal. And for me, I was particularly impressed by the quality of the recommendations in the articles. The recommendations, because they adequately consider the arguments for and against even their own proposals, and examined and concluded with why the authors believed that the recommendations are viable. Let me use the first article to illustrate this point. It's titled "The Africanization of Investment Dispute Resolution under the AFTA Agreement." At the end of the introductory section, the author claimed that, quote, "The findings and proposals in this paper are intended to go beyond academia by producing a prototype for a standing African investment court that member states can draw upon, and in so doing, set off." Sorry, I'll just state that again, I'm sorry. Yes. So it says that the findings and proposals in this paper are intended to go beyond academia by producing a prototype for a standing African investment court that member states can draw upon, and in so doing, set up the scaffolding to accelerate discussions on the creation of a continental court under the AFTA. Of course, as an academic at heart, I was interested in this prototype. And as I examined the recommendations, I was not disappointed. The seventh section of the paper some of the issues of technology. So there were recommendations on the issue of jurisdiction, how the court will be structured, how the adjudicators will be appointed, including issues of remuneration, geographical spread, qualifications, and such like. And finally, how the decisions of such a court will be enforced. Often why I was particularly impressed with the recommendations here and that made by other contributors in the journal was because I felt that these were recommendations that were actually implementable with a little tweaking. Often we find recommendations made in journals that appear to be abstract, that, if you were going to use them, you would have to set up a committee of some sorts to now look at those recommendations to say, how do we work this? But I found that in this journal, the recommendations made mostly by the authors were things that you could easily pick up and go ahead to implement without much reference even to the author, even though that's a declaration. And finally, let me underscore this point about recommendations that are implementable and why I think it is important, particularly in the journal articles. For those of us in the ADR industry, I have taught, I was at the University of Ibadan and I taught ADR and arbitration for about 15 years and practiced in that direction as well, and supervised students in that direction. The multi-doc court, as we know it today, is a product of recommendations in an article. Professor Frank Saunders of the Harvard Law School was invited to give a paper, to give a talk at the Crown Conference, and he made a recommendation that, the court system should be a comprehensive dispute resolution center. And he gave a structure and sort of how he felt this could be achieved. because those recommendations were so clear-cut, the current Chief Justice at that time felt, oh, yes, this is something we can look at and work with. And it led to the setting up of, almost immediately, of some pilot schemes, right? So the multi-door courthouse that is now a global future was actually drawn out of recommendations in an article paper. So it's understandable when I try to emphasize or point out that in this journal, what I see and what has impressed me is the quality of the recommendations that the authors have brought to the table. So I would want to say that for this journal too, the recommendations are readily implementable for increased advancement of international arbitration practice in the African continent. And so in the light of the above, it's easy to see the immense benefits and potential advantages that this journal can bring to the practice of arbitration and dispute settlement. And I'm very, very happy. Indeed, I'm pleased to be part of this process and to be part of this public presentation today. So as I round up, let me just again congratulate the Legal Scholar of Arbitration on this significant milestone, this project, and I wish the entire team continued successes in their task of advancing knowledge and practice of arbitration in Nigeria, Africa, and the world. And I congratulate my dear friend, the President, my colleague of the Nigerian Law School 8 set, Professor Adewale Olawumi, Advocate of Nigeria, for the opportunity to give this Goodwill message. So I wish everyone a wonderful deliberation, and may God bless all of us. Thank you very much. God bless you.